The Mpumalanga Education Department has transferred 28 million rand to the International Relations Ministry. It's to help South African medical students in Russia. They face expulsion due to unpaid tuition and accommodation fees after government failed to pay their stipends. But affected students have slammed the move, saying it will take time for the money to get to them. We're joined now by International Students Association's Victoria Maheso and final year medical student studying in Russia, Innocent Mpofu. Good evening to both of you, and thanks for your time. So firstly, the transfer of this money signals some progress in that the Department of Education in Mpumalanga is doing something about the fact that you've all been stranded. Victoria, your view on this?
Thank you very much for having us. The transfer of the money from the department to the International Relations Department is somehow a little bit concerning for us as students, because the department has been repeatedly saying to us that the reason why they are unable to pay for our tuition is the fact that the agents that we used to work before with were overcharging them, and they are unable to get our invoices from our universities. So what's concerning now is that an amount was sent to DERCO, and how did they even reach to that amount if they are claiming that they are being overcharged and they don't know about the exact amount that needs to be paid per student because of the lack of invoices. So to us, it just came as a little bit of a shock. And for the fact that the department didn't even bother to just communicate with us about what they are going to be doing with our futures, considering the fact that during these sanctions that we are going through in this Russia, the embassy is unable to receive money straight from South Africa. So with the money being sent to DECO, it now, it's too far away from our deadline, because with the communication that we have been getting as the student leaders from the embassies, that they will not be able to get the money immediately. They have to go and get the money from a neighboring country's embassy, which is a process that they do only once a month. So we have had our deadlines from the 7th to the 14th, and now it seems that everything could potentially be paid by the end of November, which now, what about the deadlines that we have given by the universities and by our landlords? Students are not attending classes anymore, and our universities are just requesting a proof of payment. So does that mean that we have to wait until the end of November so that the money is being paid to our universities? It's really concerning that the department literally just took our plight and made it a DECO business when we already have a relationship with the Department of Education. So with them sending the money, it's just them shifting the attention from their department to a different department. So we are really just concerned as students right now.
I suppose the biggest difficulty, Victoria, as you've explained, is the fact that there's been limited communication for you as students, and that means that being able to get a sense of how the money then is going to flow ultimately into the institutions where it needs to go, into the hands of landlords that are currently owed, that then means that it's still up in the air.
Basically, because we are still now trying to figure out how are we going to be communicating with the department here onwards. Do we now communicate with the department, or do we now establish a new relationship with DECO? We're still left in the dark, basically, because, yes, the department did reach out yesterday trying to open a communications line, and we really appreciate them for that. But it still doesn't eliminate our immediate concerns that right now, how are the landlords going to be paid? How are they going to be paying the schools? Because they were saying that they don't have invoices, and if they do get the invoices, how sure are they that the money that was sent was going to be sufficient? And we really don't understand what's going on. We are left in the dark, actually, and we wish like the department could have at least called a meeting with us and maybe explained to us, so that we are able to explain to the 229 students that we are representing, so that we can be able to have a clear communique from them. So we are basically not even sure of what exactly is happening on the ground, honestly.
Innocent, I want to give you a chance to explain to South Africans that are watching you tonight what it is that you as students have been through in the last while that these monies have been outstanding?
I'm sorry, Kathy. Can you please repeat your question?
I said I'm going to give you a chance to explain to South Africans that are watching this conversation what it is that you as students have been through as a result of these delays in accessing the finance.
Yeah, no, thank you very much for the question. What we've been through is everything that we've been communicating before, like accommodation is still not paid, tuition fees are still not paid, and there is no clear direction as to how are they actually going to pay for those things with the sanctions being in place. We all know that Russia is in war with Ukraine at this point, and it is under severe sanctions, but there hasn't been any clear communication as to how the departments that are being involved in the process right now are actually going to be able to, transfer the money to these institutions. So students are still faced with the similar problems that we've been, crying about. Accommodation is still not paid. Some of the students, about 25 of them right now, are still waiting for stipends, and it's been 4 months for some of them, unfortunately. So we are repeatedly going through the same thing over and over again. And I understand, yes, most of the students at this point, they have been paid, but what about the 25 that still haven't received anything? What are they surviving on? So we are still stuck in the same problems that we've been facing before.
So then how are you all getting along, especially those who are part of the 25 that haven't received these funds?
When we've reached out to the department, we've been sending emails, sending lists to them that these are the students that are actually, still in the dark. They still haven't received anything. And they keep on saying the same thing, telling us about governmental processes. They are working on it, giving us dates, which we can't even trust at this point, because a lot of times when you're given dates from the department, it's, they always, they always pass. So at this point, it then becomes a problem of us leaders of the students, because it feels like now we are maybe selling our students or anything, or it's just sad. It really is sad, because we kept on being promised things, and no one is really fulfilling those promises.
What's happening in as far as the schooling is concerned, because the institutions have not been paid? So for you as a final year medical student, are you still able to continue with your studies?
Yeah, it's different circumstances with different universities. There are students from, for an example, students from Saratov State University. They've been expelled. I think majority of them, especially the medical students, they've been given a notice that they won't be able to attend any classes until they provide receipts that they've paid for their tuition. And these are things that we've communicated to the department. But of course we are being told about DECO and all of that stuff, whilst we're still not being given a clear direction as to how is that money going to actually be transferred to those institutions with the sanctions in place.
Victoria, let me wrap up with you then. In as far as the Department of International Relations is concerned, what is the communication that you've had with them so far, if at all?
Initially, the embassy had reached out to a few of us leaders, and I also got a call from one of the people that works at the embassy, because he was trying to understand exactly the money that was received, what exactly was it for. And it now goes back to the Department of Education in Mpumalanga, that what kind of communication had they given to the embassy. And now we appreciate the fact that we were told that delegates will be coming into the country. They were in Astrakhan yesterday, and they are supposed to be in Saratov today. Apparently they just landed now. So we are appreciating the fact that they are here, but we are still trying to figure out what exactly are they doing here. because some of the universities that they have sent requests to go see are not accepting their visit because they are only sending letters at the last minute. So we are hoping that as DECO did come forward and they're saying that they wanted to help the Mpumalanga Department of Education, something will happen to our futures. We are hoping that our livelihoods are not, this is not the end of the journey for us. We are hoping that DECO will be able to do right by us, as our department has failed us dismally. So as the students, we are just hoping that we are going to be able to have our futures secured, and we are not going to find ourselves in a position where we are expelled and we are evicted, because it's getting really cold this side right now. And when we are communicating all of this to the department, which is something that we warned them prior to us having to find ourselves in this position, we've engaged with them, and we've engaged with them on multiple occasions, and we are now at that point where we feel like the department has not done right by us. They have failed us as the students dismally, and with DECO stepping up, we are hoping that they will at least be able to do what the department couldn't do, because had they done a smooth handover from the agents, I feel like we wouldn't be having this conversation from the beginning. So we are hoping that DECO's participation in this will be able to just yield some sort of solutions for us, because we really, really don't know where we stand right now. And maybe if we can get some sort of communique from DECO as well to the students, for them to actually explain to us exactly what will the procedures be, when will our landlords be paid, when will our tuition be paid, so that we can be able to be included in the conversations that matter, particularly with our own future. So we're just asking for some sort of inclusion in this conversation, so we don't find ourselves frustrated and coming on media platforms like this one and trying to voice us our frustration so that the department can do right by us. So we're just hoping for some sort of incentive from both the Department of Education in Mpumalanga and DECO, as they have involved DECO in the conversations about our future.
All right, let's leave it there for tonight.